But sometimes I'll do gigs, right, and I've done quite a few, which they will not be able to comprehend that a gay relationship can have the same dynamic as a straight one. They'll be like, what? A man and a man being the same as a man and a woman? No, which one of you stays in the kitchen all day? Few of those gigs, right, spring to mind, but one in particular, right, because it was, at the time, probably the worst gig I'd ever done. It was about 7 years ago, but it ended up being the best gig I've ever done, right, because I lost all my confidence after it, and I was going to give up comedy, and my agent was like, before you give up comedy, why don't you speak to that nice Irish director loads of people use? And that's how I met my best good friend Paul, because he started directing my shows, and then we became best friends from there. So weirdly, I'm really happy I did a horrendous gig, because I got my best friend out of it. But it was a gig in Halifax in Northern England land, and it was a British Legion gig. Good. You could all book comedy better than the person that booked for that gig. I have no idea why they thought I would be a good shout for that one, right? And I was on stage, right? And I was going all right. And then I started talking about my boyfriend at the time, but I didn't even say, like, anything. It was just kind of relationships jokes. It wasn't anything particularly bummy. And immediately they stopped laughing and just didn't make any noise, almost like I better not laugh. Because if I laugh, people are going to start thinking I'm gay as well. So since they weren't laughing, I thought I'll have to change my tactic here. And I pointed at a guy in the front row and went, "You're right, mate, what's your name?" He went, "Mike." And I went, "Hi, I'm Mike. What do you do?" And he goes, "I'm in the Navy." And when he said that, I'm thinking, I better not say the joke I was going to say originally to that. I'll try and move away from it. It was almost like a comedian equivalent of The Floor is Lava. It's got so many traps around. And I was like, "Wow, Mike, that's a really interesting job. What made you get into that?" And he goes, "Well, my dad was in the Navy." And I was like, "Oh, great, cool. And what did your other dad work as?" Thanks, right? Thanks. He got fuck all that night. The only laugh was the gremlin in my brain going, After the gig, right, me and the female act left, right? There was a female act on as well. She didn't have a good gig. It tends to be the same thing. If people don't like women, they don't like gay men. You know what I mean? Homophobia, I always think there's a lot of it that is actually just campophobia. It's a fear of femininity. It's like, because you never ever see a homophobe that's a feminist. You know what I mean? You never will, "Oh, I can't stand gay people, but women should be treated with respect." So I waited for her. We walked out after the show, and then Mike was waiting for us to give us some feedback, right? And Mike came up to me afterwards, and he went up to me and he was like, "Oh, he was little, that's why I'm doing that." And he was like, "Listen, mate," and he did, that thing, right? Overcompensation of masculine energy from the neck area, just like, why does nobody take my opinion seriously? People just keep throwing bread at me. It's like, "Listen, mate, I don't mind the gays." And I'm thinking, yeah, of course you don't. With your head bob, and you'd be welcome in my community. And he goes, "But why do you have to tell us that you're gay, mate? Why are you telling us that you're gay? It's fucking boring, right?" And it was basically along those lines, because boring was repeated about 4 or 5 times, right? And I was thinking, I'm not enjoying this conversation in particular, and it's not like I'm ever going to change this guy's mind, so I thought, you know what? I'll just scare him. And I think, as a Glaswegian, right, we've all got a face switch we can do. And that's what I did on him, right? I went, "Listen, mate, right, I'm not telling you that I'm gay, I'm warning you."
Feedback was over pretty pronto at that point.